All right, guys. So welcome to this interview. Kayla surprisingly agreed to have this chat and share a little bit of her journey with you guys. And why don't we start with you, kind of sharing a little bit of your of your background, like before you came to Driven. Give me an idea of what your day to day, what your lifestyle looked like.
I didn't exercise at all. I was very against exercising.
Against it.
Very much so, yes. And I didn't pay attention to food at all. Food was just, I ate what I want when I wanted. I didn't think anything about it. I never read labels. I didn't know anything about anything. I just was living my life. But yeah, I think I was really against it just because of a lot of stuff in my life leading up to it. I was very judged, and I felt that it was sort of like people that exercised felt like they were better
Mhm.
than those of us who didn't. And so I kind of had a very negative outlook on those type of people, basically. So I resisted it, and I didn't like it. I didn't like to sweat. I didn't like anything that hurt. No, I just wanted to be left alone to do my
Yeah,
own thing.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about those experiences of you being judged, because obviously you don't get to a point where you feel that way unless you experience things like that more than once, right? Because then
Right. Yes.
you draw the conclusion. So yeah. So when do you remember it being the first time that you felt that way?
I don't know if I remember the first time. I remember my whole life feeling like, I mean, I was never like a super skinny kid, but looking back at my photos, I don't really think anything of them now. But growing up, I definitely felt it. I don't remember anything until I was 17, I think.
Mhm.
And an adult said to me, "You have a pretty face, but," I don't remember what she said after that, but I was only 140 pounds at that time, which now I'm like, holy crap, like, what do you think of me now?
Yeah.
um, but, and then it's mainly been, I mean, I feel it in the media, I feel it in the world around me, but it's mainly been family that has kind of made comments. Somebody would say, like, in my family, in reference to other people, they're so fat, they're so disgusting, they've gained so much weight, they're gross. One of my birthdays, somebody gave me a gift card to a store that I asked for Tommy Hilfiger. And she said, she gave me the gift card on my birthday, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know they made clothes in your size." Just stuff like that, like totally unnecessary, unwarranted. That kind of stuff is always in my mind. And then everywhere you look, I mean, everything seems to be geared towards the greatest people in the world are thin and they're fit, and that's what sexy is. That's what everybody wants, and the rest of you are just like not good enough, not
Yeah.
worthy. That's how I've always felt, which isn't true at all,
Right.
but it's how it seems.
Yeah, your experiences up to that point gave you
Yeah,
all of the ammunition to be like, see, this is the way that the world is.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I'm not like that, but
Right.
I've experienced it enough to
Yeah.
know that yes, a lot of people are like that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And it's crazy how our minds filter out the positive. Like, I mean, I remember when I was at my heaviest, my mom would always tell me, "But you're such a handsome young man. You're such a good, son," and whatever. And it literally went in one ear and out the other. Like, it didn't matter what anybody thought of me, uh, because I knew that I had also heard comments. I had now believed those comments. I didn't feel good, particularly good about myself. So the positive is almost like it didn't even register. The
Hmm.
negative was super loud.
Yeah, for sure.
And so uh, walk me up to the moment, like maybe like the few weeks before you and I met, because so Wes, your husband,
Hmm.
is like, I met him. He reached out, we chatted, and and then he came back, but this time with you. So tell me the behind the scenes, what happened between visit number 1 and visit number 2.
Right. So I remember that he would watch your videos a lot, and it always annoyed me. I didn't actually watch them, but I'm like, ugh, it's another fitness person, and yeah, he's got a different approach, but I never paid attention.
Right.
I just was like, stop watching this stuff. This is dumb.
Yeah.
And then he talked about you, and he talked about Driven over, I think it was like a year or a year and a half. I think it was a year and a half after he met you. So in that time, he would randomly bring it up, but I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, if you want to do that, I don't know. Okay, but rewind. He's got a membership to Fit for Less, and he has for, I don't know, since they opened.
Yeah.
So I thought, why? You've got that. Why do you need this other thing? And why are you watching videos? And I don't want to do that. Why are you bringing me into this? That's not, you know me, that's not my lifestyle. I don't want anything to do with that. And then he just kept every now and then pushing and pushing and pushing. And I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more uncomfortable. And then, I don't know, for some reason, I just agreed to go and meet with you, even though, as you know, I wasn't really that open to it, and I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
But I went more as a support for him, but not really expecting to do anything myself.
Yeah. It's hilarious because I remember like I had already met Trevor once or twice, I don't know.
What?
And right, and then he comes in and he's like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna come over. I'm bringing Kayla with me, and I was like, sweet, awesome. And then you're walking. I remember where we sat down in the gym and everything, and I was just chatting and like, all right, so how are you doing? Blah blah. And I was like, oh man, she does not want to be here. Like she's gonna punch me or like spit in my face or like something. But yeah, it was. I mean, now for me, I didn't take that as, oh my God, she's evil or cranky or anything like that. I know from experience that it can be intimidating, uncomfortable. You feel, well, what are people going to be thinking of me? Are there people working out there while I'm talking with this guy? Like all of that, I understand that could have been what was going through your mind. So I never thought, oh man, I don't like Kayla. Like, not at all.
It was all of that, and just being so uncomfortable in my own skin that all I could think about, like all day, every day, is how big I was and how everybody perceived me. So to meet you for the first time and have the pressure knowing that Wes really wanted to come, and sorry, it was just intimidating. Yeah. And so embarrassing.
Yeah, like embarrassing to walk in. Like, is that why you didn't say much?
Yeah, well, and I didn't want to be there, so I didn't really know what to say to you. I wasn't the driving force between being there or getting us there. And yeah, it was just, oh, what's he gonna think of me? And he's judging me. That's how I felt without getting to know me, Yeah. And yeah, there was a class going on. I just felt judged 100% of the time, all day, every day. So it was super out of my comfort zone. And then to talk about starting to work out and having like a one-on-one coach that I'd have to message like everything that I ate. I was like, that's crap. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to know everything I eat. I don't want to talk to somebody every single day. And yeah, so.
That's so, it's crazy because it's been such a short amount of time, and you're in such a different spot now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about like what was the biggest negative impact? Because like you probably have heard me now say this a lot, but the shape of our bodies does not equate how good a person we are or our worth, right?
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. You can be an asshole and have a six-pack, and you
Yep.
can be the most beautiful person in the world and be morbidly obese, straight
Yeah.
up, right?
Yep.
Um, now, how you feel is very important, and often when we are really overweight, comfortable isn't always how we feel.
Yeah.
For you, like when you said that the weight kept going up and up and up and up, do you remember what like the highest was?
296.
296.
The
And
highest that I'm aware of. That's when I started at Driven.
right.
But I believe that was my biggest.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5'4".
And so for you at that point, like, what was the biggest negative impact that you noticed from
Besides the
being there?
outside world and besides the feeling, like physically,
Yeah.
um, well, it's kind of like being 9 months pregnant is kind of how I felt. So if I would drop something in the car on the floor, I couldn't just simply bend down and pick it up, which was super embarrassing. I'm not really open with Wes. Of course, he's going to see the video now, so surprise. But I'm not, I'm not really open with him. I'm pretty guarded about my weight and everything. I have been my whole life with everybody. So for him to be like, pick it up, you know, because you dropped it or whatever, and then I would get mad and just it would cause friction between us, but I couldn't just simply say I can't because that was embarrassing to me.
Right.
Or laying on the couch, you know, like totally laying back because I can't sit up properly. It's in the way. So that was, I think, the biggest part is just not being able to do simple things that people don't think of until you can't do it anymore.
Right. Right. And so now, you know, I can sit there in front of you the first day and be like, don't worry, we're going to take it easy. We're going to go step by step. Don't worry about looking at these guys that are killing it in this workout. They've been here for a while. But in your mind, when you come to that first workout, you're still like, what the hell is happening? And like, I'm going to die any minute now. Like, how was your first workout? What do you remember about the first time you walked into Driven to work out?
Well, I made Wes go with me
Yeah.
for his first workout as well, just so I could have kind of that security blanket of somebody else there.
Right.
I just was super intimidated because I've never really gone to a gym. I didn't, even though this is totally different, but still, I didn't know what to expect, which I'm like this interview, I work myself up about it and I talk myself out of a ton of stuff because of it. But I thought everybody would be perfect at it and I wouldn't be able to do a thing and it would be super embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, to be honest, I don't really remember it that much. I remember not feeling like that once I was there.
Mm.
I didn't get that feeling, but I still was in a bad mindset. Up until COVID, I was in a negative mindset for sure. I didn't put much into it. I didn't track anything. I only went to Driven a few times, took the whole month of February off. I went on a cruise and went to Vancouver and did whatever I wanted and I didn't care.
Yeah. Okay. So
Um,
from January to March, you were just like, ugh, whatever.
yeah, I stopped drinking regular pop. That's the only thing that I did. The
Yeah.
moment I started Driven, I cut out, I would drink regular Pepsi, like, I don't even know, 2 or 3, 710 mils a day, every single day. I didn't touch water. I drank French vanillas and ice caps and anything.
Yeah.
So I cut that out. So I did lose 16 pounds prior to COVID. I attribute it to that and nothing else because I didn't put a lot of effort in at Driven and I didn't track my food.
Yeah. And then what happens when COVID happened and we closed the gym? Like one of the things that we did to try and help you guys not fall off was assign one of our coaches to each one of you so that we could help you stay somewhat on track at home, right? Now you were going to go from coming to the gym to do workouts to doing them online with our virtual classes and the trainer harassing you on your phone, right? So how was that? How was that for you?
You still see and hear me? Oh,
Oh,
there you are. You're back.
yeah, there you
Okay. So it was like a couple days before we were given the go home thing for COVID. and I had messaged you guys and said, we're not going to come to the gym anymore. And I kind of felt like, whew, because I'd been feeling so guilty because we hadn't been going, but not guilty because I wanted to be there, guilty because I'd paid.
Right.
And just, I don't know. But I was like, okay, yeah, we're not going to come anymore. So thanks.
Yeah.
And then
Bye.
it was like 2 days later and you guys were like, oh, hey, we're taking this all online. And I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean you're taking it online?
You're like, these
And
people
then,
won't quit.
I know. And then you also said, and we're upgrading everybody for free to one-on-one, which I also was like, that was amazing for you guys to do. But at the time I was like, I don't want to be talking to somebody that much. I don't want to be on my phone that much. I don't want to be tracking, basically. Yeah. And you said your coach is Carrie, and I thought, cool, I've met her once. She told me to drink water. I didn't want to drink water. So yeah. She seemed really nice and bubbly, smiled like 1,000% of the time, which I was like, ugh, right? So
what is wrong with you?
I know. And then that must have been, I don't know, March 18th or something. March 19th, she called me, and March 20th, I started tracking, and I've never stopped. I've only taken a couple cheat meals since then. Well, maybe like up to 5, I would say. I usually try to make them work within my calories and my macros, but I haven't stopped at all. Having her is what I needed. Yeah. And I had no idea, but it's made all the difference. Without her and without having you guys go online, I would be at least where I was prior to, if not more.
From January to March, you lost 16 pounds by just like cutting out the pop, the lattes, and the fraps and all that.
Yes.
And then COVID hit. We moved it online. You start working one-on-one with Carrie, one of our coaches, and you lose an additional what, 20?
No, 36. I'm at 52 lost now.
Holy crap! All right, an additional 36.
Yes, and I wasn't working out. I have something in my skin that can make me super uncomfortable. It's there all the time, but sometimes it's way worse than others. So when we started together in March, I started the tracking right away, but because of that, and because I still wasn't into working out, I just didn't. She wanted me to get my steps to 10,000 a day, and I'm like, I'm lucky to hit 3,000 a day. Lucky. Yeah. Like, honestly. Yeah. So I didn't really start working out. And then sometime in April, I started doing a little, but I think it was at least a month after I was with Carrie. Right. And then April 29th is the day that she did a cardio accumulator. I hated cardio, and a cardio pyramid. Okay. I hated pyramids and hated cardio, but I felt like I wanted to support her. Yeah. So I tuned in, and ever since April 29th, I haven't stopped. That something about that video, I don't know what it was. So April 29th is the day in my mind that I've really been doing both successfully, consistently, without stopping.
You know, the beautiful part here, and for those of you guys that are listening and that are feeling overwhelmed and don't even know where to start, please let this be an example that you don't need to start by like full out sprinting and crushing it right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. I mean, in fact, the majority of the time, what we observe with our clients is that this is more how it happens. You know, usually you start with just making some little tweaks to your food. Then you try to conquer usually the workouts first, and then you add the nutrition. In your case, it was the other way around, but it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. But here you are. And now let me tell you this. So we were working out side by side in, I don't know, on Friday, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm also just making my way back to the gym after a bit of a break for COVID. And I felt I was like super weak, and I felt that I was like dying with the tiny weights that I had and everything. But I definitely, and I was like, you were right next to, you were to my right. And I was like, holy crap, man, like she's not stopping. And I'm having to take a bunch of breaks here. So for me, as crazy as it was, because you messaged me after and you were like, wow, it was so motivating to be working out next to you.
Yeah.
For me, you were what it like kept me going in my head. Because I was like, Kale is not stopping. Like, get over it and keep pushing. So like that's what's amazing here.
Mhm.
Like it's been 6 months since you walked into Driven, but it's been a lot less since April 29th,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And yeah, having you there, like, I don't really see you that much. So
Mhm.
having you there, it was like crazy that you came and then you were working right beside me. And I thought, oh my God, like I can't, not, I don't take a lot of breaks, but I definitely pushed myself way harder
Yeah.
than I'm used to pushing myself. So that was pretty cool
Yeah.
because,
It did the same for both of us then. That's
yeah.
awesome. And so what do you think, like now, how do you feel? Because obviously now you're becoming one of those people that that 6 months ago you would have been like, what?
Yes, yes, totally. I have the protein powder and the BCAAs and the pre-workout and the greens and everything that I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And so in your mind now, why do you think it's different for you in here now?
Because I assume because I'm seeing results. Like that's what keeps me going. I constantly I weigh in every single day. I see consistent results. I talk to Carrie, it feels like all day, every day. But she also started like an accountability group for us a little while ago. I think there's 6 of us in it.
Yeah.
And we support each other and we talk about stuff in our lives. We talk about our workouts. I'm super competitive. So we one up each other. She gives us special challenges to do. Like it's just super motivating and um, it just
So it's
works.
having that
Everything about it works.
it's having that support and
Yeah.
that accountability that
Yes.
has brought you to a place where you can be consistent enough that you can see the progress,
Hmm.
and then that progress is motivating to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Accountability is what I needed personally. And knowing how much I've changed and tracking, like you were just saying in your video, tracking every single thing.
Mhm.
Um, the only thing I don't track is I don't track oil. I've never tracked oil,
Right.
but I'm low enough under my calories that I feel like it's okay. There's no way I had 300 calories worth of oil, you know?
Right, right, right.
But I track every single thing every single day. I don't take anything off. And then the next morning I weigh myself and usually I'm rewarded. So
Right.
that keeps me going constantly.
Now, what happens when you do everything right? You're tracking your food, and the scale doesn't go down.
Yeah, that happened on today's Saturday, Thursday.
It'll happen many
Um,
times, but like,
yes. Oh yeah, it has. But usually, in the beginning, I found it really hard. It
mhm,
would throw me for a loop. I wouldn't change anything, but
okay,
mentally I really struggled with it. I didn't
mhm,
understand why. And Carrie would tell me, well, it might be where you are in your cycle. You might be retaining water. You ate salty food yesterday, like
you may need to.
so many different things. And I'm like, so I did everything right. I don't get it. But I would keep going. And then quickly I would see the scale drop or maintain again. And it was good. But then Thursday, it was a larger gain than I'm used to seeing. And even though I know better, I still got in my head about it. I wish that I didn't. Um,
You know,
but
I think
it
that
happened.
I think that getting in our heads is we're human, right?
Mhm.
What really matters is what happens next. Because if you get in your head and you go, oh, see, this is proof that this is not for me. That's not
Mhm.
who I am. Who am I trying to fool here? I'm just gonna go and eat a large pizza. You know, that's what matters, because then you will either actually go up on the scale, or you can say, oh man, what the hell, I'm doing everything right, I don't understand it, I even drank more water than usual, got more steps than usual.
Yes.
Okay, it's frustrating, but you keep plowing along, then like you say, that mindset and that consistency is always rewarded, maybe not in the short term, but always in the long term,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a bigger gain on Thursday, but I never think about not sticking with it. I'm beyond that. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Um, but I worked out a couple times that day, and then Friday I had another gain, and Friday's the day that I worked out with you in the morning. And then this morning I lost all that I gained in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I didn't change anything. Who knows what it was?
Yeah.
But yeah, consistency for sure. Not getting derailed is.
Consistency always beats intensity. You know, you can go one day and go crazy and just drink water, not eat anything, and walk 100 kilometers once. That's not going to get you anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
how consistent you can be. There's always going to be a little bit of those ups and downs. Now, one thing that when we dread the whole fitness lifestyle, all those people, one thing that we, that we, in our minds, it's suffering. You know, it's like the idea of like counting calories or like exercising. Ugh, that sounds so. Yeah, like it would just be a huge pain in the butt, you know, suffering, being miserable in order to lose weight. Like, is that how you feel right now, or how do you feel about it?
No, but I think my perception, a lot of it came from people eating really bizarre, in my opinion, foods, and taking 100,000 selfies of themselves and posting it online, and everybody saying, "Oh my God, you look amazing."
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of us. So for me, I don't eat anything weird. I said that when I first met you guys. I'm not willing to do that. Weird to me. I'm
Yeah.
not willing to do anything weird. I want to make normal life
Yeah.
work forever. I want to go to a friend's house if they invite me over for dinner and not be like, I have to bring my own weird food,
Yeah.
or not go at all. Or I want to go to a restaurant or have a piece of cake on my kid's birthday and not lose my mind over it.
Right.
So I don't feel that way for what I do, but I'm also not, I'm not the look at me, look what I'm doing. If you ask me about it, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think it was the showy in my face kind of, that's the part that I didn't like.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So
I
like
don't
when you
like,
saw this on like on like Instagram or Facebook or something like that.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that, or you see it on TV
Yeah.
or whatever. Just like everybody, the perception is that the healthy, attractive people only eat really weird stuff and
Like
starve
what? Like what?
themselves or whatever. Pardon?
Like what?
Weird stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's weird to me.
Yeah, that's
Like,
okay. Like,
I don't know, like chia seeds or quinoa or hemp, whatever. Like, I'm a white rice kind of girl.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Or, like just, I can't think of a lot because David went over you guys had meal plans or something, and he read some things, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not that it's bad. I want normal, but I want to learn how to make normal work healthy.
Right.
Which I do eat a lot of stuff that I never would have eaten before. I do.
Yeah.
I've tried quinoa.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
It's okay for me. It's not. I prefer rice, but
Yeah, me too.
I think
And I can have it, right?
The beautiful part is that you can, like now, especially how you're learning to do this, you can eat whatever you want. Like, is that what you do, or do you follow like a strict, like, no, these foods are not allowed kind of thing?
I do eat whatever I want, but I'm really a creature of habit in everything. Wes calls me chicken fingers because I can eat the same thing all the time and I'm fine.
Yeah.
I like to get up in the morning and plan out my day, and then I like to just look at my phone. I'm like, okay, it's lunchtime. What am I going to have? And I know exactly what and how much of it I can have.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't like he'll go up to the fridge if he's cooking, if I'm doing Zumba or something, and I've asked and he's cooking, he'll go to the fridge at like 5:30, 6 o'clock and be like, what are we going to have? I can't do that. I like to plan it out. So I can have anything that I want. I know from working with Carrie that like ham is super salty. So I've decided I'm not having ham anymore. Not anymore. I just don't have ham. I could if I wanted.
Right.
But I choose not to. Or pork is like super fatty. I didn't really have pork that often before, so I'm just choosing not to, but I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I eat anything. Like I made steak with crab and béarnaise the other night. It was fine. I just limit how much I have. Whereas before, I'd have a steak that was like 3/4 of the size of my plate. You can even see it because there was so much béarnaise.
Yeah.
And I might have a potato with it and that's it. Whereas now it's like I'll have a way smaller portion and more veggies,
Right.
way more veggies. Whereas before I don't know how often I eat veggies, not very often.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So holy smoke. So 56 pounds in total, right? Or 52.
Yeah,
50.
52.
Um, and so for you now, as you can see this and you look at your future, what like how do you work better? Do you work by like setting goals, like be like, all right, that's where I want to be eventually, or are you like, nope, like little checkpoints, and when I get to the next checkpoint, I'll figure out where the next one is? What works better for you?
I don't know weight wise because the last thing I remember was in high school when I was 140. So I don't know if I could be 140 as an adult. Maybe. I have no idea.
Right.
I don't know weight wise. I know in the past I've lost, the most I lost recently was set prior to driven. I lost 70 pounds. So that got me down to, at that time, 200.
Mm.
I still was nowhere near where I wanted to be.
Mhm.
So I know it's less than that, but I think it's more of I want to be stronger, which I am, but I want to be stronger. I want to be more confident. I want to be able to shop anywhere, not in a specialty store. Um, and I just want to be comfortable in my own skin and not feel judgment. I mean, everybody's going to judge us the way people are, but I don't want to be the big girl. I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to go to the doctor and have them be like, "Ooh, you're morbidly obese," or, when I was pregnant, they were like, "You're going to get gestational diabetes because you're so overweight." I didn't.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell them that now, but I just don't want that judgment be put in a box. I want to get away from that
Yeah.
and just be, let go of my anger towards those people. But I just want to be at a point where I'm physically and mentally comfortable.
Do you feel that that to a certain degree that's already happened, or that's already happening? Like you um like you're right, like you and I don't talk very often, but I do feel like I mean, you literally thought before all of this that I was the embodiment of precisely everything that you hated about those people, right? And yet I still feel like we have a very strong bond, like, and so for you, do you feel that that perception has already changed a little bit, or are you like, no, this is just Miguel and Carrie and the trainers are driven because I just lucked out? Or like, how do you feel about that?
I do feel that I lucked out. I do feel that it's mostly you guys. Um, but you guys aren't the type, like, I didn't think you were that type when I met you. Obviously you work out and you watch what you eat, but you weren't. I did watch few snippets of a few videos with Wes, of his insistence. And I could see that you weren't like that, but you're still athletic and this is still your life.
Yeah.
But no, I still feel like that's the way the world is. And there's a lot of people out there who are what I don't like. I don't like people. The big thing with me, I don't like people who think that they're better than me or anybody else. That pisses me off to no end. So any of those people that are like, I'm so great, look at me, look what I'm doing, and my body's amazing,
Yeah.
that puts me on the defensive right away. So yeah, I do still feel like that, but I have had a massive mental shift for sure, like massive.
Yeah. You know what? I honestly think that it is it is our responsibility as because I mean at one point I was 80 pounds overweight, right? Like I was on that side as well and feeling all the like the judgment. And I feel that it's part of my responsibility now to constantly remind everybody, hey, just because you have a six pack, like that doesn't mean you're a good person. And
Hmm.
just because you don't even know if there's a one pack in there, that doesn't mean that you're not a beautiful person that is worth of
Yes.
love and attention and care, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome because you are, as you continue in your journey, you're literally going to be part of shifting that perception, right? um,
Yeah.
like people that know you now and the people that will meet you in the future will see Kayla and be like, oh man, she's awesome. Like she's a good mom. She's a good everything. She's a nice friend. She's everything. She also is like badass. Like she works out. Like don't mess with her. Like she'll crush you. But guess what? She tracks her food. Oh, wait a minute. She doesn't think she's better than the rest of us. I think that's something that we kind of like owe to the world as we learn how to do this with kindness and without beating ourselves down when we are human and we have a beer or whatever, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome, Kayla. So let me ask you this. Obviously not everybody has access to Driven. So don't say, well, come check out Driven. But other than that, like if there's like what would you say to someone out there that is perhaps in a similar spot to where you were 7 months ago?
I mean, they have to, I didn't want it when I started, so it's hard for me to say you have to be ready for it yourself, because I wasn't ready for it myself. I was not the driving force when I started. I don't know. I know what did it for me, but that's not realistically going to happen for everybody with COVID and the one-on-one. For me, I needed the accountability. I think everybody needs the accountability, because I've seen Wes struggle with it as well when he didn't have the accountability, or not the same type of accountability as me. We do this totally different, and I can see differences between the two of us. And I also know before, when I didn't have accountability, I didn't track, I didn't do anything. I just saw my friend yesterday, and she was totally floored and super supportive. She's thin, she runs all the time, but she's very unhappy with herself. And we had a big discussion about it, and she is my fitness pal just on her own. And she's like, well, yeah, I have calories, but I don't really track anything. And we had a big talk about it. And I said, but you need the accountability. Like, yeah, you're not going to track on your own. Why would you? If I didn't have Carrie, I would not be where I am. I know that, because I will, before, when Wes, a few months ago, he would make something that was, say, ham and a baked potato or whatever. And I thought, this is a couple months ago, I better put some veggies on my plate or Carrie's going to say something about it.
Right.
If I didn't have Carrie, I wouldn't have made the veggies. There's no way.
Yeah.
So I think you need that. I think you need somebody to hold you accountable, or from my experience, you won't be successful.
It's no different. And something that I always have very present in my mind is that we don't want to just create dependency. Like we want you to it's no different than when you're a kid and your mom is like, did you brush your teeth? No, you didn't brush your teeth. Go brush your teeth. And you're like, oh, fine. And it's every night. But sooner or later, you don't need your mom to remind you to brush your teeth. You just do it. It just becomes second nature. And that's what ultimately ends up happening. But yeah, at the beginning, it's so useful to know that somebody else that wants you to reach your goals, that has nothing but like there's no, like, the only thing, like, for us, it's our job, but we also understand how, like, we want to make a difference in your life, right? So when you mix those two things up, then we're going to keep an eye on you, and we're going to be like, hello, like almost like knocking on your hello, there's no veggies on that plate, like, come on, and eventually, like, it will come to a point where Carrie won't need to ask you about veggies. It's just more natural to you.
Yeah. And I know I make all my decisions. I choose what I eat in a day. I choose if I cheat, which I don't. I choose if I'm going to work out and how hard I'm going to work out. I'm choosing all that. But I like knowing that she's there, and knowing that if I eat no veggies, or if I eat a big plate of ham, or I don't know, if I didn't work out, I'm sure she'd say something about it eventually. But I like knowing that she will say something. For me, that's what works. that, you know.
Well, it's just like I was chatting with a friend yesterday that is not into the gym and the nutrition and all that, and he was like, well, but like how fancy are your workouts? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, are they like, do you edit those classes that you put online, or are you just hitting live and then you do it? Basically, he thought that the workouts needed to be really fancy, right? And I was like, make no mistake, we do give our clients workouts and guidance with the workouts and the right workouts to do and all that. But I was like, that's not what people need, man. Like, workouts are free online. Like there are 5 trillion free workouts on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yet not everybody is in good shape. Why? Because of the accountability. You can go on Google and just Google weight loss meal plan. You'll find 3 million of them, but that doesn't quite do it. It's when you mix the fitness, the nutrition, and the accountability, that now we're talking.
It's also the relationship too, though, right?
Exactly.
Like if you go to another gym, which I haven't really done, but I must have walked in with Wes or something at some point. It's just totally different.
Yeah.
It's usually either a juice head
Yeah.
or some young kid that is just
Right.
there. They don't give a crap about you. They're not there at all. Whereas at Driven, you guys know us and we can talk to you anytime we want. And I feel like you know us personally, and we know, like, I'm seeing your house right now,
Yeah.
and we talk to you personally, and it's totally
What's
different.
happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see my crazy wife running behind me, and we had to edit that part so you didn't have to see it. But awesome, Kayla. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this. I know when I first asked you, you were like, no, I don't know if I can do that. But I I think, like, it's obviously awesome to document how you feel at this point in your journey, because inevitably it'll be cool for you to see this a year from
Yes.
now. But it can do so much. Like, when we put it out there, one person watches this and it triggers something for them, and whether they start by saying, hey, maybe I'll just cut out the pop and the fraps and whatnot,
Yeah.
and maybe that gets them to start seeing some changes, some momentum that eventually leads to big changes for them, right? And
Yeah.
that's worth it right there.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Miguel.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this. I'm gonna go and probably eat some tasty food now, but but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. And to everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Love your faces, and we'll see you soon.